Hey,
Are we live? My
we
goodness.
are we are live.
March 4th. We haven't done this in a hot second.
It's
We
been
took,
a while.
we took a break. We're allowed to take a winter break.
We are. And you know what? In the meantime, we not only, talked and chatted and texted back and forth, we saw each other in person. So that's a big win.
And we came up with better ideas, right? How this is going to evolve. And
And you played pickleball for the first time.
I did
Let's
play
just talk about
pickleball.
that.
I did play pickleball. I was very excited. What is it? The fastest growing sport in America.
Yes.
Although,
And
have you heard of padel? I was corrected recently at a dinner. I thought it was paddle. Have you heard of
no,
padel? Padel
no.
is a new trend. So Google
Oh,
that. They have glass courts.
yes.
Apparently way more fun than
Ooh.
pickle.
All right. Well, I gotta try that.
But I think the lesson here, so my daughter, I've been wanting to post about it. I took a picture. My daughter posted she put a piece of paper on her door the other day that said, "Be quiet, meditating," and like exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. She was very like
Wow.
screaming that she's meditating. And it got me thinking about, oh, is Lauren getting on?
I think so.
Oh, she's early, but okay, so before I lose my thought, it got me thinking about stepping back, right? Slowing down
Oh yeah.
to full force. And like the following week, I didn't have school the whole week. Um, oh, look, I'm getting a notice for Lauren's note taker. Should we let her take notes on this call? I would say we do it. We
Yeah,
let
we
her.
can we can let her.
So she was out of school the whole week, and I had to slow down. And then work, for whatever reason, was like I was more efficient. I was 10 times more efficient by slowing
Teaching
down.
you more than you ever thought she would teach you.
But the same thing for us, right? We slowed down for what, the
Yeah.
last 2, 3 months, but
Yeah.
in the meantime, we were able to step back and kind of figure out where this next year is,
Yeah.
just pretty
Regroup, figure out how we're going to level it up. And yeah, we may even have refreshed our questions. So,
fun ways to automate. Let
yes.
let
Speaking
her
of automate, before she gets on, I'm so excited for our guest today because I am not only well, I first connected with her on LinkedIn, surprise. And then I went to a comedy show and she was on stage.
You connected with somebody on LinkedIn. I don't
Ah,
believe.
surprise, surprise.
So she was on stage at the comedy show. I remember you telling me
Oh
this.
yeah. And I not only was like, okay, I gotta just go up to her after the show and introduce myself. Like I'm this like bystander that is connected with her on LinkedIn, but never met her in person. And she absolutely crushed it on stage. I was almost nearly peeing my pants. And then we got to hang out after the show. And she like signed a wall at the bar. Like the guy let her at a dive bar, like let her sign the wall. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I know a famous person. So yeah,
And
she's
since
awesome.
then, I've cultivated a girl crush
Oh
on
yeah.
our guest today. I follow her on LinkedIn. I share her profile out. I am now her customer. I
Yes.
use her product, and I don't. And I think I tell everybody I meet as soon as we start talking about sales and AI and being more human. Lauren comes up in conversation.
Always.
Hello.
What's
Speaking of the
up?
devil, good
Oh my
morning.
gosh. How are we? What's going on?
My goodness, I'm so excited right now.
Yes, this would be so fun. Oh my
Lauren,
Well,
I
gosh.
was just telling Caroline how we're recording too, by the way. We
yes,
just we
we're
started
already recording.
new
Great.
pro we love it. And so I was telling Caroline how I was like, yeah, we connected on LinkedIn, and then I went to her comedy show, and then I was like, hey, this is I want to be friends. And then I was like, you signed the wall at the bar afterwards.
Okay, wait. We had the comedy show this last week.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I didn't do it again, but my friend Sam did, and we went over there, and my name is still on the wall, and I'm like the only signature on the whole wall. It's so embarrassing. It's like why?
Oh, I love
Can you
it.
actually share why we're talking about a comedy show? Because it wasn't it your brainchild? You just tell us why you did that.
Okay, it wasn't my brainchild, but Christine Nicodemus is another founder in Charlotte, total badass, amazing woman. But after she sold her last company, she's like, we need to do more things that scare us. Like, we need to do more crazy things that just like push the boundaries. And so we've gone, done like aerial yoga, we've gone axe throwing, we've gone to, I don't know, like drag shows. And one of the things we were like, we're going to do stand up comedy. Like our goal was to do it at like a brewery where there was an open mic night. And then I posted on Instagram something about, oh, scoping out places for our first stand-up routines. And Todd Bulow, who runs Dual Boot in Charlotte, like calls me immediately and says, "Hey, we're doing a comedy show that's a fundraiser for Dottie Rose with Girls Who Code, and you should come do a bit." And I'm like, I've never done this before. So it was supposed to be a stand-up routine at like a brewery with 10 people ended up being on stage in front of 300 people at Comedy Zone doing my first stand-up routine. But we raised 15,000
It was
for Dottie,
incredible.
which was
Yeah.
so fun. Yeah.
I love it. All right,
And
so I mean, we're dusting off old cobwebs because we haven't recorded in a couple months. Uh,
Yeah.
I believe now's a great time to introduce our show.
Oh,
Kelly,
yeah.
you to introduce our show?
Yeah, of course. So this is Humans of Tech, a short form series on LinkedIn, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, we're on there. We're leveling up this year, and we're so excited for our first guest. So, but before we introduce her, I want to let you know the series rules. We do not re-record, we do not edit. We just ask that our guests answer authentically. So we don't also repeat any questions. So there's no pre-work for our guest. And so Lauren Goodell is the founder and CEO of Zinnia. And Caroline, I'm going to stop there because I want you to take it from here.
I'm going to pull up my screen for a second. So pardon if I look like I'm spacing somewhere else. So we're actually going to leverage Lauren's product to introduce her. I'm going to use that as my talking points. So Zinnia is a great tool for people who are working in sales to do some background research on either organizations that they want to talk to or people that they want to talk to. And really the goal, because I've dug my hands into it, is to find common ground and make a better human connection with the folks that you're trying to reach out to. Be more intelligent, talk about things that matter. So I know, saved me a ton of time when it comes to researching. So when we pulled up Lauren on her own product, three things about her, right? She's the founder and leader at Zinnia. And the kind of the tagline there is driving revenue by prioritizing the human connection. She has worked at industry giants such as Salesforce and Microsoft. And I do believe I've seen on LinkedIn, like you were one of the top salespeople at some of those organizations. So kudos to you. And she is passionate about building communities, tech, and supporting nonprofits. I mean, that's fact checks because unprompted, she told us about how she just raised $15,000 for an organization. So we're pretty excited. I will say a couple of fun facts here. The one that I loved the most personally was she tries to have humor in business. And when I click learn more, it tells me that Lauren quoted Missy Elliott in a business email in order to be authentic and humorous. So we are excited because not only do we have a female founder in tech, I mean, all the things there. We have someone who kind of embodies everything that we want about human and tech: authenticity, being fun, courageous, and a little bit vulnerable all at the same time. So with that, Kelly, should we ask her a question?
Yeah, absolutely. New questions of 2025.
well, thank you for the kind intro, and I'm so happy to be here. While Kelly is pulling that, it says, let's see about you two. So,
wait a minute.
Empathetic, growth-oriented, resilient, and inspirational.
Wait, who's that? Who's that?
That's you.
Oh, that's me.
And then Kelly is community-focused, inspirational, curious, and adaptable, which I can vouch for. So
Look at that. All right. Our question. Ooh. What's your evening ritual that sets you up for success the next day?
oh, yeah. Well, I feel like I have the same day-to-day ritual, and which is getting online super early, working all day. But because most of the time I work from home when I'm not traveling, I feel like it's really hard to shut off in between work life and home life. So I always go to the gym. Depending on how stressed that day was, I will run sprints, as many as possible, lift some weights, lay in the sauna, and kind of decompress from there to actually be able to live real home life.
I actually have been going to the sauna a lot more often, and there's so many health benefits. I told my mom about it, and she goes, I get claustrophobic. I'm like, Mom, it's the sauna. Like it reduces this, this, and this. And she's like, okay, when I come down, I'm trying it with you.
There are a few people when they listen to this who will be wildly annoyed because it's all I talk about. I just bought the infrared red light panel. It's
Mm.
currently in my guest bathroom, and I stand in front of it for 15 minutes. I'm
I'm
very
so
excited.
into it.
Apparently, it's really great for healing, great for muscle recovery, aging, which is something I care about since I'm turning 40 this year. Yes, it's gut health, all the things. I will tell you in the future if it actually works, but it just can't.
Yes, I want an update on that.
Lauren, I want to ask you another question though, because I'm really curious of the transition for you going from sales at a big time tech organization into startup founder mode where, in sales sometimes, and we talk about this to people, right? When you manage a territory, you have to think about it as your own business. So I can imagine there's a ton of things that kind of translated, but kind of what was that transition like and how going from, oh my gosh, I have this idea that I think I really need to go after.
Yeah, I mean, I actually say this all the time. I think sales reps make the best founders and, leaders because exactly that. You are managing your own territory like it's your own business. You're doing your own marketing, you're doing your own sales, you're doing your own project management. Like all of that is really translatable to the startup world. But the biggest difference is I went from Microsoft and Salesforce, where everyone knows those names, everyone will answer your call, to Zinnia, which is a flower. And people are like, what is that? And so having to kind of like actually build trust, build credibility in our brand has been super interesting and probably the biggest shift between the two.
How have you done that? Like like which areas are you like, okay, this is we're going to start out just to start getting it out there when you come from, when you look it up and it comes up as a flower.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are working on our SEO and our marketing and all of that, but our whole ethos is that people buy from people. And so myself and my wonderful co-founder Marco have really focused on telling our story, our brand story, and not just like, this is how Zinnia can help you, but here's the expertise I've learned over my decade in enterprise sales. Here's what he's learned while building sales tools like Calendly and SalesLoft before Zinnia. And like, here's the mistakes we made along the way. Here's the silly things that I've done, tripping on stage or whatever it may be, to actually like, we are human, power of vulnerability. I think that's helped us kind of build out our brand of, buying from people versus some no-name company.
And then last question, because we're breaking all of our rules right now. We always say just one. Um, you had to go back to the moment that you started to think about making the transition over into tech startup land. What one thing could you have done differently that maybe would have accelerated your journey?
Yeah, I would say it wasn't a traditional path. I was not planning on leaving corporate. I absolutely loved it, but I started working on a project on nights and weekends on my last company and oopsied into very fast growth and was like, I should probably go after this full time. But after that, I knew that, I got bit by the bug to build something from the ground up. And I learned so much from that first company about, building the right culture, building the right team, finding product market fit, the right investors to take money from. I made so many mistakes in the best way that has kind of excelled me forward, but I wouldn't change a thing, honestly. It's been a huge growth journey.
I heard learn from your mistakes faster.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Fail
That,
fast.
Fail fast, learn faster, right?
love that. I love it. Okay. Well,
Well, yeah, this is it. And yeah, thanks, Lauren.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This is fun.